Welcome back to Checkpoint, coming to you live from our Johannesburg studios. And joining me now to discuss the quality of learning and teaching in our classrooms is the Basic Education Minister, Minister Motshekga. Minister, thank you so very much for making time to come out so late at night. I know you must be exhausted both physically and emotionally.
No, I'm fine.
You're fine?
I'm fine.
There's so many questions that are coming through from our viewers to you, Minister. They really want to hear from you tonight. But we'd like to cover a couple of questions that were raised through the documentary that we've just aired. I don't think that anything that we reveal tonight is news to you. You know about, the challenges that the average South African child has to overcome in order to get that matric certificate. But I think the question tonight is 20 years into democracy and 5 years into your tenure as the Education Minister, why do we still have classrooms, schools in Soweto where children sit without teachers for 6 months? An economics teacher for 6 months was not available to the children at Dedelo High School, and they had to go on strike in order to get a teacher. Surely we're setting them up for failure if we're not giving them the basics that they need to succeed.
I thought you'll also balance it out and say why 20 years down the line we have a learner from Katlehong with straight marks in maths and science, and it does show that yes, indeed, there are elements of the system. 20 years down the line, we have, for the first time, African kids who can qualify to do actuarial sciences, which they couldn't do in the past because they didn't have those opportunities. Yes, indeed, we admit there are still problems, and that's why when I gave this year's budget speech, I said the main focus in this term should be efficiency and quality, acknowledging that those problems exist, but we can't exaggerate and not acknowledge the fact that indeed a lot has been achieved.
In Cindy's life, it's a huge issue. She actually managed to get 45% for economics without having a teacher for majority of the year. What would you say to her today? She has to live with the marks that she has right now. She could have done better if she had a teacher.
I'm sure. I mean, for Cindy and many other Cindys, it's quite sad that we've still not reached that efficiency level that we wish for in the system, which is extremely, I think, painful and quite sad for Cindy's them. But let's not forget to celebrate the fact that indeed, in 20 years' time, we've achieved the unthinkable. We've got, we're one of the countries in the continent where when Cindy wants to go to high school, she doesn't have to compete for space. She just needs to make herself available. We provide space. In other countries, if you pass primary schools to go to high school, it's not automatic. In our country, it's automatic. So there will be problems, but let's also acknowledge that as a country doing extremely well.
We do acknowledge, and I think the country's behind you because
no,
this is the future.
I'm just saying, let's balance it out.
That we're talking about. These children will build the future of South Africa, and we all want you to succeed, but we have to face up to the problems that are out there. Let's move on to Lobone, another school that we highlighted in our documentary. This is a school that the Education Department actually identified as a school that has many, many challenges. There, 8 teachers to 200 children. Children are leaving in droves because the quality of teaching there has gone down. The 8 teachers have to teach 5 standards, and each teacher has to teach more than 2 subjects. Over and above the changes in the curricula that we've had so many over the years, isn't this too much of a burden to put on teachers that are already stressed?
Fortunately, even as an MEC, I've had to deal with Lobone. And I also looked at the results today because it's really been a problematic school over a long period of years. And even when they were at 40, I said, oh, Lobone can still have a light shining because it's been a very difficult school to deal with. And what I've said to MECs is, if it doesn't work, just abandon it. I'm still not sure why we're still running Lobone with 200 kids. They should close that school, send kids to the other schools, because if you have a small school, you can't deploy enough teachers. That's why you will find 8 teachers who are overworked. Because the way we deploy teachers and the way we are funded as a department, it's per learner numbers. So if you have 200 kids, you can't run an effective school. Okay. And that's why I said provinces must consolidate schools. If a school is not viable Don't continue trying to put life into something which is not there. And I think we have to be decisive about Libona. It's been just too long trying to keep Libona alive, and there's just no hope.
So it will be closed down, basically, is what you're saying to us tonight.
I'm saying all schools which are unviable, they must close them.
We're unfortunately live tonight, so we're running out of time, and I really want to get through to some of our viewers' questions. Makadzi Ria wants to know why some schools still getting 0% pass rate, and what are you as the minister going to do about that?
It's still unviable schools. I looked at those schools.
They must be closed down.
Schools with 7 kids, schools with 6 kids, schools with 15, they're unviable. You just can't do anything about those schools. They must send those kids to other schools which are viable.
Olile Fem wants to know where are all these matrics going to go, because universities don't have space for them.
I wish I knew.
You don't have the answer to that question.
I don't have the answer because mine stops as soon as I pass matric.
It's not your responsibility. Somebody's also wanting to ask, Raz Matley wants to know about fly-by-night schools. Why aren't parents and teachers told about fly-by-night schools, or shouldn't there be a list of legitimate schools so that they don't fall victim to these fly-by-night schools?
And that's why it's a parental responsibility. You can't send your child to a school which you have not investigated if it's not a registered school. Because it means now we have to run people's lives, go to parents, say, don't do this. Parents themselves have to take responsibility. They are paying, they are registering, they have to check if the school is registered. We do close them down when you pick them up, then it opens up next year. So for me, that's where you also say parents have to take more responsibility around it.
Lastly, Minister, in closing, what are you going to do to improve this year's performance? Do you have any bright new ideas to share with us?
This year's results are the bright idea that we've had 5 years back of improving quality, making sure that we improve the curriculum, we raise the bar. Actually, this year's results are a reflection of the bright ideas that we had in the past 5 years. So all we have to do is to just keep on moving on hammering on quality and efficiency, and to make sure that you don't have a child like the one that we have, where half the year she doesn't have a teacher.
We're going
and that's
to have
the bright
to end
idea.
there, Minister. Thank you so very much for giving us your time here on Checkpoint. And to you at home, thanks for watching. This is Checkpoint, and I'm Ngibile Mabuse.